Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot, and today I'm going to be talking about using the tarot and Lenormand together. Now, a lot of people feel that they can't use them together because they are two very different systems of reading, but I'm here to tell you that yes, you can, and to show you some ways of how to connect your tarot and your Lenormand deck together. So the very first Lenormand deck that I read with was back 20 years ago, and that was the first Titanian's Fortune cards, and that's when this deck actually came out. And I wasn't all that confident when it came to reading the tarot. So what I used to do is I used to ask a question of my Titanian's Fortune cards, and then I would ask the same question of my tarot deck to see if I was getting the gist of the idea. So to give you a demonstration of that, I'll be using my tarot because I haven't used that for a long time. So let's pull 3 cards out of this, and let's ask a question, and then I'm going to pull 3 corresponding cards of the Lenormand deck, and I'll show you how you can sort of provide hints and clues. So even though this is kind of like a beginning, I suppose, for beginners, it's for seasoned readers as well who perhaps would like to know more about the Lenormand and use it in their work with the tarot. So I'm just trying to think of a question to ask. So let's ask what does next week have in store for me? So I'll just shuffle that into the cards. What does next week have in store for me? Oops, dear. Okay, I want 3 cards instead of 1. What? There you go, that's 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the cards that I have got are the 2 of Cups, the 4 of Cups, and the 6 of Cups. Okay. So, oops, I've just put them the wrong way around. So I might actually even take a photo of this and have it up on the screen so you can see it easier. And then I'm going to be using my own Australiana Lenormand cards for this. So what does next week hold for me? This is exactly what I used to do because I never trusted myself when I read the tarot. Oops, there was 3 cards there. Okay. All right, so I got the Ship. So that goes underneath the 2 of Cups. I've got the Sun, which will go underneath the 4 of Cups. And then I've got the Birds, which will go underneath the 6 of Cups. So the first thing, of course, is when you are, when you're actually looking at the 2 cards together, is you try and see what kind of is the same in the actual cards. So, so they're right underneath each other, these 2 cards. I might actually not have to put them all together. We'll see how I go. But the thing that is the same, and that is the water. So you can see water behind the rat, and then you can see water, of course, where the ship is floating on that. So this tells me that next week might be a little bit of an emotional week. So even though we've got the 2 of Cups, and it can mean partnership and things like that, but it can also mean that there's a little bit of emotion attached to this particular to next week. There's something that might not go as smoothly because if you're looking at the water in the background from the tarot, it looks like there's a wave that's about to crash over, whereas the ship is sailing quite flat. So maybe perhaps the beginning of the week is going to be a little bit emotional, and then it'll flatten out towards the end of the week. Okay. And then we're looking at the 4 of Cups and the Sun. Let's put them 2 together. So the 4 of Cups. So we know the 4 of Cups can also can reflect. Actually, I should put it the other way around. These mirror images. I'm shocking with it. So the 4 of Cups, of course, can reflect some boredom. But if you look at this particular rat, it almost looks like he's juggling the 4 cups, doesn't he? One is actually resting on the forehead. And then the Sun, of course, usually just means that something nice is going to happen. So perhaps you're going to be a little bit bored towards the middle of the week, maybe Wednesday, something like that. And then you may get a visit from a good friend who really brightens up your day, and and you just you feel good. You have a really good time and have a bit of laughs. You may go on a unexpected trip as well, because there's 4 cups there, so you might decide to and if I'm concentrating on the cup on the head of the rat, something will come across to the both of you to let's to go out somewhere together, perhaps to have a drink, because there are some restrictions that have eased up here in Australia, or just to go over to the other person's house because they want to show you something, things of that nature. So it looks like that out of the blue, your boredom is going to be alleviated by something. And now we go to the birds and the 6 of cups. Okay, so the 6 of cups often can stand for nostalgia and wishing things were the same before, and because it's come with the birds, it often can represent 2 people, sometimes who are elderly, and also of course it can represent gossip about you as well. So there could have been something at the beginning of the week that you've heard. You may have heard, because remember when we went back, how the emotions in this particular, I picked up the wrong card. The emotions in in this one, so you can see the wave crashing over, and then it sort of smooths out towards more the end of the day. So perhaps you hear at the end of the week that, you heard that there's some gossip about you, possibly from people that were you were good friends with in the past, representing the 6 of cups, and they've been gossiping about you, and perhaps even causing other people to question you as well, that type of a thing. But then as the week went on and they've heard your side of the story, they realised that they should have trusted how you've always been in the past, as represented by the 6 of cups, that you're always a kind, good person. And when you look at the rat, he's holding the cup close to his heart as well. So it's going to be something that's going to touch you very deeply in the heart. It could hurt you, because the birds often, stand for gossip, and usually not the nice kind of gossip. So, that's one way of looking at it. So it starts off with a bit of an emotional type of a feeling to it, with the wave crashing over you. It smooths out. In the middle of the week, you're a little bit bored, and then you get an unexpected visit or from a friend, or even a phone call, message or whatever that brightens your day. And then at the end of it, you may find out that there's been a little bit of gossip about you from somebody that you knew in the past. So that's a way of connecting, for connecting the decks. And I always encourage you to really look, because when you're really looking, I don't know if it shows up on the camera as well, but with my birds, the magpie has got a chip in its mouth, and it's going to feed its young. And the magpie, even though it looks like as an adult, they actually are young, and they look like that when they're young, and the mother or father or whatever does feed them for quite a while. And anybody who hears baby magpies, they actually sound like young children crying. They actually sound like a baby. So if you're looking at that chip as well, and the 6 of cups, it could also mean that somebody is going to offer you something as well. They're going to give you something, and it could be very nostalgic. It could be from the past. So you might go and see your parents, go visit your parents or something like that, and then they give you perhaps a cup that you have, or even an egg cup that you had as a child that you used to treasure, and they found it in the back of the cupboard, and they give that back to you, So then the magpies is representing your parent giving you something that has great nostalgia for you when you look at the 6 of cups as well. So always look very, very carefully at the card, Now if I'm just going to try and find the birds in Titania. Now Titania, her representation of the birds is completely different. It's just an owl. So let's put the owl up next to the 6 of cups. So this is the owl next. Now the first thing I'm struck about this is the blue. Now the blue in the 6 of cups of the rat really stands out to me, as does the blue in behind the owl as well. So that tells me if I got this particular card, if I had chosen this deck with this particular card, something's really going to come out of the blue from the past. Something's really going to come out of the blue and knock you for a 6, literally. So, you know, and the owl in this, it's going to be hard to pick on the camera, but the eyes are very, very staring and very really pinpointing you, like they've really got you under there, you know, because we all know owls are fantastic hunters. So that's someone that's really honed in on you, sort of thing. So let's have a look with the 2 of Cups and the ship. This, I just want to give you an idea, because every deck, like, I mean, these are both Lenormand decks. Of course, mine's completely different, but I just wanted something to represent Australia. So let's find the ship, and we'll go for the 2 of Cups. And again, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing, because the 2, you can still see, of course, that the big wave behind the rat there, but this particular ship is very, very the water is very, very calm, okay? But look at the sky. The sky looks like the sun is setting. So whatever happens, I would say that's going to upset you would be happening in the morning, and things are going to really smooth out in the sunset towards the evening. You're going to feel more calm and more centered and more grounded. All right. And then let's have a look now. The sun in this card is just pretty much a bright, bright sun from what I can remember. Let's see if I can find it. Because my sun is just towards the evening as well. You can't see it, but there's a horse rider in the actual heading off into the sunset, so to speak. So as you can see, this is really, really sunny. This is really, really bright. So I would say that whatever's going to happen to alleviate your boredom will happen right in the middle of the day. Right in the middle of the day when the sun is its highest, so probably about 12 o'clock, because mine is more in the in towards the evening again. So, you know, you might hear something towards the evening if you were using my deck, say, for this particular card. But for this one here, I would say it would be at the noon. So this is how you connect your particular, how you connect cards with a Lenormand deck. It's really, really very easy. And the more you do it, the better that you'll get at it, and the better that you will see things in the card. I mean, you know, Titania's cards are very, 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 very plain, very, very simple images. But even by just looking at the background of it, like this could be twilight, sort of nighttime, you know, that time when the sky just turns purple. If you're asking when something was going to happen, like going on a trip or something like that, say if you got the road and that, it would probably be a trip that's more towards, and see, even that sky is kind of pinkish, that type of thing. So look for things like that. Look for things, what's going on in the background. Look at carefully how the characters, I suppose, like even with the bird, you know, that's offering a chip. The head is tilted to the side, and it's going to, you know, it's feeding its young. Now, anybody who's owned a pug, like I did with Oscar, you know, if you used to show him things and talk, the first thing he would do was tilt his head. All pugs tilt their head, and he used to do that all the time. Even something in a pair of birds like that can remind you of something. And for me, just now, that's what I just thought of Oscar, how he used to tilt his head when we used to, you know, he used to go like this, and he used to go like that. He used to look so cute. So look at things like that in your Lenormand cards, and see how they are accentuating the message that the tarot card is trying to give you. So let's do another demo. So I'll just pull out one card for this one. So, oh, excuse me, itchy nose. Always happens when you're on camera. So let's just see. Actually, my husband just texted me. He wants me to get him a slab of beer. So I'm going to ask a question. Actually, I'm going to pull 2 cards, and then I'm going to go and get it and see if it comes true. So he wants me to get him a particular slab. So he likes drinking Swan Draft. So where will be the cheaper option? So I've got 2 here. I've got our local BW&S. So will BW&S be cheaper? So I'll pull a card for BWS. I've got that one. And then I'm going to pull a card for, now I can't think what that one is called. I'll just put the IGA because it's right next to IGA and I know they own it. All right, so I've got one for IGA. Okay, so I got the 8 of Pentacles for BWS, and then I have got the Devil for the one next to IGA, thinking which one's going to be cheaper. So for this instance, I'll use my own cards again. So let's pull one for BWS. So BWS, I got the clouds. Okay, so the clouds are quite dark, these ones. And let's have a look for IGA. And then IGA, I actually got the Child. So the Child with the Devil and the clouds with the 8 of Pentacles. So which one do you think is going to be cheaper? So BWS, I'm just going to put them in the right order. And then we have got IGA. I'm going to see if it's, I'm thinking, because I've only been once or twice to the one next to IGA. I've always gone to BWS. And last week he actually gave me some a lot cheaper. And so, you know, the Child stands for something new, but also it's a family business. So we've got 4 faces there. So his sons work for him, you know, at this particular place. So I'm going to go with IGA, and now I'm going to pause this video and I'm just going to see how right I am or how wrong I am as well. Okay, so I was right. The IGA was cheaper. So the cards that represented BWS, which were these 2 here, and it's where I normally go because I get rewards on my Woolies card. So that is the BWS, and because the clouds were darker, I was thinking that it might be dearer, and I was right. It's $55 a slab there. And the one at Celebrations, which this was what I thought because it's a family-owned business that I was looking at the children, is $49. No, actually, I think it was $44. So a great bit of a few dollars difference there. So, you know, and even when you look at the Devil card, I mean, it's offering you something. Even though there's got horns in the shadow, as you can see behind him, and he's got his arm behind, you know, what's he hiding behind him? Or what he's actually hiding, what he's offering was a better price. So there you go. So that's another way of connecting with your deck, is asking just questions that you're going to find out the answer to, and pulling the relevant cards, and then having a look at it when you get back and realizing that, wow, you know, you were right. And that's what I was thinking, because of the Child, which represents new, can you represent youth, you know, but it's a family-owned business, and that's what come across to me the most, because, you know, because all of his children work with him, his sons. So that is how you connect the tarot and the Lenormand together. It's really a lot of fun, and of course, you know, you can use any deck. So actually, I was going to have a look at the Child, and it's quite different because the Child and what have I got? Sorry, and the clouds in Titania. So that's the Child there. And then the clouds, I can't remember now if she's got the darker clouds on here or not. Let's have a look. Where's the clouds gone? Oh, just bear with me. I just had the cloud card in my hand not long ago. I know it's a pink one. Oh, there we go. So that's the clouds. So the clouds with the would have been the 8 there. So that's sort of more or less, that's kind of telling me if I look at them 2 together, because it's not really dark. All her cards are dark in the Tanya, but I'm thinking of too is the coins and how dark it is there too, that they are sitting on some money. they are trying to get more money than what it's actually worth. And then if you're looking at the child and the devil card there, it's still sort of telling you to trust this, you know, trusting something new, isn't it? Trusting someone new. And then I'm really looking at the red in the card. Now, anybody who knows about Swan Draft, which is an Western Australian beer, that's the colour of the carton as well, okay? So that's another hint too. So there you go. So that's, you know, a way of how you can connect Lenormand and tarot, how Lenormand can enhance your learning of the tarot, and vice versa as well, how you can actually see more things in a Lenormand deck than what people think you do, you know. So even though the images are very, very simple, very, very simple indeed, they speak volumes, and sometimes I think they actually speak more than what a tarot deck does, as funny as that may sound. But it could be because I've been reading these cards for many, many years, and I've just got a good connection with them. But that's the way to do it, and, you know, do some experimenting, use different tarot decks. I just hadn't used my tarot for so long, I wanted to use it. And, you know, but, you know, try really difficult tarot decks too. Like I've got the, is it the Voyager Tarot by James Wainless, where it's just a whole mixed up jumbles full of pictures in it. So I'm trying to get, you know, it's all very jumbled up. You know, so try and really, really test yourself when it comes to things. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you try it out, do let me know how you go, because I'd really love to hear it. I think it's an awesome thing to do, and will help you learn for sure. It really, really will. Until next time, this is Tracy. Please press like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you all next time.